Pili Montilla. She's an Emmy Award-winning reporter and producer. She's hosted shows like American Latino TV and Te Para Tres con Pili Montilla. She's also hosted LA TV's In La Zona and En Concierto. She was recently nominated for a Tecla Award for Best Stories or Live Content at Hispanicize 2018, where our own little Julie Bean met her and got her to come on our show. Pili's here today to discuss her career, her journey from her homeland, from Puerto Rico to the mainland here in the United States, the work she's been doing to help the island recover from the devastation of Hurricane Maria. Pili, how are you?
I'm here.
Here
Hi.
you are. How you doing? Thanks for coming on. Now, Emmy Award winning. What did you? When I hear Emmy Award winning, my eyes perk up. What did you win an Emmy Award for?
I won for my show, Te Para Tres with Pili Montilla. It was a show that I created, hosted, and produced on Latin alternative musicians. It was a beautiful show, and it ran for 3 years.
Wow.
So we were nominated for Emmys,
Wow,
and then
that's
ended
amazing.
up. Actually, you can see where is it? The
Yes,
Emmy, right?
I see.
Oh,
I see a poster. There you are. Oh, I see it right on the back. Very, very nice. So you started off your career after school, after you came here from Puerto Rico. You started as a VJ for MTV. That's kind of cool. Did you have to go on like a million auditions? How did you get that?
I did. You're right. I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
have to
right.
go
You
to,
had
like,
to, right? Yeah.
My mom was the one that told me, they're looking for VJs for MTV, and I totally see you doing that. I'm like,
Right.
oh yeah, let's do that. I like that. So I went through a tedious, long process of auditions, and after like my 6th audition, I actually didn't get it. I was the second runner-up. They picked another girl, but 3 months later, they called me and said, you know what, it's not working with this girl. We want you. And so I worked with MTV for 3 years, and it worked out great. It was such a great school. That's where I learned how to produce, how to translate from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, how to interview, how to do my research. It was awesome.
So who were some cool people you met during your years at MTV?
I love Gwen Stefani, and I got to interview her while I was working for MTV, which was
she was
awesome.
cool. She was nice, I assume.
She was super sweet,
Right.
super nice.
Right.
I've also interviewed Sandra Bullock, Ricky Martin, Shakira, Sofia Vergara.
Was there ever a time when you're like, I'm so excited to meet this person. I've listened to their music ever, and then you met them, and you're like, what a jerk.
I just mentioned her.
Uh-huh.
She was horrible.
Really?
I was extremely excited to interview her. I'm not going to say her name because I already did, so I'm just going to let you.
Right. Well, just assume.
Okay.
Right. We'll just assume who it is. I could guess. I could guess, but I won't.
I'll give you more. It's a she.
Right. Well,
Obviously,
you did all mostly women.
And Latina. And an actor. And I only mentioned one actress that's Latina. So if you're listening to me well, then you'll know.
I was listening.
Oh my gosh, she was horrible. She
Horrible.
was such a diva. She treated my cameraman like if he was poo-poo. It was just a horrible experience for everybody.
Right.
She almost made the cameraman cry. She was, she's that type of person that like when the camera is on, she's on.
Right.
And she's smiling
Right,
and she's
right.
awesome and funny and she has that very thick accent.
Right.
When the camera's off,
She's a miserable person.
yeah, and she's like,
misery.
listen to you, and it's just like there's no connection, and
Right.
I love human connection. I love talking to people. And that's why I love interviewing and being a TV host, because I get to connect, to like deeply connect with someone.
Now, you were at MTV for 3 years, and you also had an acting career as well. Is that right? I read in my notes here, you work with Lin-Manuel Miranda. How is it working with him? What did you do with him?
So we were shooting a movie in Puerto Rico called 200 Cartas.
Uh-huh.
He's a genius. Everything you see about and read about Lin-Manuel Miranda, that's good, is actually true.
I've never met him personally, but he's like, if you put like, you give me a list of like 10 or 20 people, like, famous showbiz people I would want to meet, because I think they would be fun and cool to hang out with. He's on my list. Absolutely on my list. Yeah.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
And everything he touches now turns into gold.
Yeah,
so.
of course. Yeah, that's also another reason to hang out with him. Now, you're originally from Puerto Rico. Is that correct? You were born in Puerto Rico?
Born and raised in Puerto Rico. My family's still there.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So I don't know if you can see my shirt, but I'm a Boricua.
Uh-huh. And what does that mean for those who don't speak Spanish?
So Boricua is a term that is used for Puerto Ricans, because before we were named Puerto Rico, it was called Boriquen by the Taínos, who are the native Americans of Puerto Rico. It was Boriquen, so you're a Boricua if you're Puerto Rican.
Got it. So now your family's been there for how long? generations, I guess, right?
Oh God, yes, generations and generations, except for my grandfather on my mom's side. He's Irish American.
How were you, looked upon when you first came? We don't like to ask women their ages, but when you came when you were 17 years old, how were you looked upon? I mean, how was your English? Did people look at you as like a foreigner? Because a lot of people who come from Central America, South America, they get kind of clumped in with Puerto Ricans a lot.
Till this day, I always have to justify where I'm from because nobody really believes that I'm Puerto Rican. So I constantly have to say, yes, I'm Puerto Rican. What? But you don't look Puerto Rican. And I always say the same thing. Well, we don't all look like J-Lo. Puerto Ricans, just like any Latina,
Right.
we come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes. And that's the beauty of the world in general. I've faced, I don't want to say racism because I hate overusing that word, but some resistance from both Latinos and both Americans because like nobody can pigeonhole me. Like Americans are like, well, you look like us, but you don't move like us because
Right.
you talk a lot with your hands and you have a slight accent and your name is Pili Montilla.
Right. Pili gives it away, but other than that, yeah.
Exactly. And the Latinos are like, but you must have certain privileges that we don't have, or you probably have it better than we have, when it's not the truth. It irritates me, and at the same time, it is what it is. So,
Now,
got to move on.
So now in the United States, you can vote, right? You can vote in California for the president.
Right. So
Right, but if you lived in Puerto Rico, you can't. Why don't you explain to everybody that? Because people, I don't think, get it.
Let's explain a couple of things.
Yeah.
First of all, Puerto Ricans, we're American, so we have a U.S. passport. And also the currency is the American dollar. But let's go back to the passport just one more second because I get this all the time. There isn't such a thing as Puerto Rican citizenship, or there isn't such a thing as a Puerto Rican passport. We are Americans, born on an island that's a commonwealth of the United States of America. Something that we didn't choose, something that was forced upon.
Yeah, right.
After the Spanish-American War in 1898, the United States conquered us.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not something that we chose. We did not choose to be part of the United States. It just that's how history ends up being. Yes, exactly. So if you live on the island, you cannot vote for the United States governor or vice president, president or vice president.
Right.
Like you cannot. You can vote for your governor in Puerto Rico, but you cannot vote for anything that's going on the mainland, even though the mainland is the one taking all of the actions and passing all the laws that relate to you and your people and your island.
And you have no congressman or congresswoman, you have no senator, nobody in Congress.
We have one non-voting, I don't think it's even a congressman, it's a representative, but he can't vote.
Right, he has no power. He just sits there and stares at everybody. Right.
Correct. Now that I moved to the mainland, I can vote, and I do exercise my right to vote.
I read something interesting that after the hurricane, a lot of people who lived in Puerto Rico had to leave because they didn't have electricity, they didn't have food, and a lot moved to Florida.
Yes, that is correct. Thousands and thousands of Puerto Ricans fled the island after the hurricane, including my parents, and that's because my dad is 75 years old. His health is very delicate. And we had to take my dad off the island 2 days after the hurricane, send him to my sister's house who lives in Florida. And my mom and my dad were without power for 5 months.
So what's your take on everything that happened in Puerto Rico with, Donald Trump throwing, bounty paper towels at people, to everything's great in Puerto Rico, to people still don't have electricity, to Donald Trump saying nobody, very few people died, to now this, Harvard study said over 5,000 people, I believe, died in Puerto Rico. Tell me what your whole take on this whole hurricane, as a Puerto Rican, as somebody who has a stake in that island. You grew up there, you have family there. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts.
It's devastating. It's frustrating. It's extremely sad. It really does break my heart to see what's happening on the island.
Have you been there?
Sure.
Have you seen? Tell us what you've seen.
Yes. So I was there at the end of January. Everything's abandoned. Everything's broken. There's huge holes on the street. What affected me the most was how people are trying to deal with it. Like people are frustrated, people are tired, people are desperate. Our crime rate has gone up, and I don't blame them. People have to survive. I just saw total devastation. Buildings that I grew up looking at, that I grew up in, are not there anymore, are in ruins. But most importantly, is people's reaction to it. People are heartbroken. People feel abandoned. People feel betrayed
And
because we don't have the help that we should be getting. If you don't have power, you don't have water. Like, how do you serve? You don't have work.
that's why so many people died. That's why so many people died. It wasn't the winds.
So,
It was the lack of services after.
all I can do is, I'm a board member of a non-for-profit called Friends of Puerto Rico, and try to
tell me
help
what
the island.
I was about to ask you. I know you're part of a non-for-profit. Tell us a little bit about this, and tell us what you're doing to try to help the island.
Friends of Puerto Rico had been going on. It was founded about 4 years ago. We focus on what's called the orange economy, which is arts, culture, and education. So we help artists that are on the island. So those of us that have left in the diaspora and are on the mainland, helping those that have stayed in Puerto Rico in education, arts, and culture. So we help a lot of independent musicians and artists. We give a lot of scholarships. We've helped 13 Boys and Girls Club that were devastated by Hurricane Maria. We gave them food for over 3 months every day to the boys and girls and to the staff members. We gave generators to the Boys and Girls Club as well.
Nice.
So it's a little bit of everything that has to do with that economy. We've been lucky enough to have a community of amazing supporters that we've raised over $1 million through Facebook. So for more information, please do visit and follow friendsofpuertorico.org. I'm extremely proud of the work that we're doing.
And from that website, you can make a donation.
You can make a donation, and you can also see what we're doing, all the efforts that we're doing, and where your money's going.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful work. Well, Pili, it's really been wonderful. I know you're going to be in New York in July. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in New York in July?
So Friends of Puerto Rico is teaming up with Prima, who's another non-for-profit that's based out of Puerto Rico. And we're doing a music showcase with artists, musicians that were flying from Puerto Rico to New York for this specific Puerto Rican showcase, for them to showcase their art form, their music to a new audience. They're getting paid for it. All of their expenses are paid. These are musicians that have lost their studios in Puerto Rico due to the hurricane, that haven't been able to release their singles or their albums because of the hurricane. They've lost their instruments. So we're giving them a chance to showcase their music in front of an amazing audience in New York. So hopefully you'll get to be there with us that night.
That would be amazing. Where is the showcase?
It's called Berlin on Alphabet City.
And Alphabet City.
I have it with me, but it's in Alphabet City.
We know.
It's called Berlin, I think.
Okay.
It's on July 15th. It's a Sunday.
All right.
Starting at 6 p.m.
All right, that's cool. I hope to come. I hope to meet you, and then maybe you'll come join me in the studio. You'll come back and join us. That would be great. So Pili, before we leave, where can people go on the web or social media to go find you and find out more about you?
Yes, I would love for people to start following me and follow my journey. It's at Pili Montilla, so it's PiliMontilla. You can see it there on the lower third. So yes, it's at Pili Montilla on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm most active on Instagram. So please direct message me. I do answer all of my posts. It might take me a little longer, but I do answer all of them. And I love connecting with my audience, and hopefully with your audience as well.
Pili, it's amazing. Thank you. Look forward to meeting you in July, and thanks for coming on Bradshaw Live.
Got it.